fun. I'm having fun. It's so nice to see so many of you. So many familiar faces I haven't seen in a long time. It's wonderful. I'm usually in the audience of events like these, so it is a huge honor for me to be asked to speak with you today. Keynote speakers are usually accomplished authors, successful entrepreneurs, or even celebrities. And while their inspirational stories are very interesting, many of these individuals are inaccessible to us. My story is just one of over 500 unique stories each of you in this room has. Who's here with us today? So I hope today you will listen and think, Judy is part of my community of women here in the Monterey County, and she is accessible to us. I also hope that you'll leverage this opportunity to meet one another, and if you don't know someone, meet them and expand your own circles. But a great, great group of people here today. Early in my career, I was very driven and ambitious. I loved the rewards and recognition of being a top performer, and I worked really hard. One night, I was at a recognition event in San Francisco, and my boss's boss, the division president, approached me, and he congratulated me, and he said, Judy, you're a beautiful woman and an incredible cheerleader, but does anybody really know how smart you are? If you want to move up in this company, you need to be really smart. Within a short time, I applied for the University of Washington's Pacific Coast Banking School so I could achieve my graduate degree in banking and prove that I was really smart. A few years later, after completing the program, I applied for and interviewed for a big promotion at the same company with the same leader. Despite being more than qualified for the position, I got a call from this leader to tell me that I did not get the position. When I asked for feedback so I could better understand, what is it? What are the skills and accomplishments that this chosen candidate had that I didn't? He said that the man that he selected was just really, really smart. I was angry and I felt defeated. His comment shook me and it shook my confidence. It suggested that I couldn't and shouldn't trust myself, my capabilities, and my ability to self-assess. I spent a lot of time thinking about what I had been working so hard for and what my goals were. And I came to the conclusion that it was time for me to leave my comfort zone and make a change. I decided that I would not allow this person to squash my dream of achieving an executive level position. So within 30 days of that interaction, I left the company for a much bigger and better opportunity. So each of you has a little piece of paper. You'll see the invitation, but you'll also see a little piece of paper. I think you'll see it. And if you will please grab that and a pen, there's a bundle of pens on the table. I'm going to ask you to take a moment to reflect. I want you to think of a time when you questioned your own self-worth, when somebody doubted you or made you doubt yourself. Please write that down, and we will revisit it shortly. Okay, are we ready? All right, so at a different organization, I was very excited to attend my first team meeting as a senior vice president. During a break, a female colleague who'd been with the company for over 25 years came up to me, and she said, "How did you learn to be so confident?" I thought it was really interesting that I was perceived that way, because I certainly did not feel confident, given the experience I had just had at my previous employer. Looking back now, I realized that I had given my old boss the power to make me question myself. And I realized that within a very short time at a different organization, this female colleague completely restored my self-confidence because she reminded me of who I really am. That's the power of women supporting women. I realized that I had allowed my entire self-concept to be in the hands of others, and that I had some serious work to do to build an internal source of self-trust. As women, we tend to overthink situations and underestimate ourselves. So we stay quiet and we stay put, passively allowing others to determine our path and our future. Now, I would love a show of hands. How many of you have a messy drawer in your kitchen? You know the one. You don't want anyone else to open it. And it's where you shove all of the things that you want to put off dealing with. Or closet, I don't know. Metaphorically, that's what I've seen many women do in different facets of their lives. Their careers, their bills, their finances. The messy drawer is the place in our minds that we stow away the things we are ashamed of, we're afraid of, and we're in denial about. The drawer is your reliable hiding place, a temporary purgatory for problems or issues that seem too daunting. But if we don't trust ourselves to solve things we don't want to deal with, and we don't trust others enough to talk about it, we give up control of our lives. But if we're not in control, who and what is? Fate, circumstance, our spouse, our children, a financial planner, or perhaps a caregiver. Consider this. Women live 5 to 10 years longer than men. Among people over 100 years old, 85% are women. Statistically, women defer decision-making about their finances to someone else because we think it's complicated, or we're scared, or we don't think we're smart enough to handle and manage it ourselves. I've seen very successful women of all means who are brilliant at their trade or profession, who make poor financial decisions because they don't inform and educate themselves, or by choosing to live for today and failing to adequately plan and save for their future. Over my 30-year career in banking, I've seen the unfortunate consequence of this. Women go to the bank after a divorce or a death of their spouse or partner, and they have no idea what they have. They never established credit in their own name. They discover that their grown children or a caregiver may be stealing from them. They're lost and they don't know where to begin to regain any sense of control. So it doesn't matter how old you are, what your relationship status is, and what your choices have been up until today. If you are feeling vulnerable or are dissatisfied with where you are financially about your current situation, it's not too late to put a plan in place and fix it. We don't have to avoid what makes us uncomfortable or hide our fears deep inside a messy drawer somewhere. There's freedom and power in emptying out that messy drawer, and that's what I want you to feel empowered with leaving here today. The reality is we have to take care of ourselves and face whatever it is we're afraid to deal with to gain control now while we're in a time and place to get things in order. When I was 34 years old, my husband and I had been married for 10 years, and we each had our own careers and young children. Here they are, and here they are now. That was a long time ago. So thank you, family, for being here. We realized, my husband and I were chatting, and we realized we did not have a revocable trust in place, or a will, or a healthcare directive. And we didn't have a plan for who was going to be guardians of our kids if something was to happen to us. So we made an appointment with an estate attorney, and I thought, we're just going to gather all the necessary paperwork, dump it on his desk, and he'll call us back in a few weeks and we'll sign everything and it'll be done with. We can check it off our list. Well, that's not what happened. We sat with the attorney, this wonderful man who's no longer with us, and he said, this is the start of a relationship between us. This is one of the most important documents you're ever going to put together. So he interviewed us, like I say, for 2 hours, and he said, I have a homework assignment for you. I want you to go home, get a glass of wine, sit in front of the computer, and I want you to write your family mission statement, the Krueger family mission statement. He said, I want you to write about love, education, the importance of your heritage, honesty and integrity, and what your wishes are for your children's future. So we went home that night. We had more than one glass of wine, sat in front of the fireplace, and through many tears, we wrote the Krueger family mission statement. And you know, it's really interesting. I pulled it out for this event and read it again, and all of it was very relevant. And that was a long time ago. And our kids just read it too. It's a really beautiful process to go through. And I highly encourage you to do it if you haven't done it. Do it now. I don't care how old you are. It's important. If you don't have a revocable trust, a will, a healthcare directive, or a family mission statement, like I say, please do it now. You owe it to yourself to document who you are, what you want, and have a roadmap for your family to follow. You deserve to dismiss others' ideas of who or what you should be. Believe in yourself and don't let anything or anyone derail you. My mom, Elvira Guzmán, Gonzalez at the time, was born and raised in a tiny town in Guadalajara, Mexico. She grew up on a ranch and achieved a 6th grade education. She had to stop working so she could help support her family of 9. At 17, she met my father, Gilbert Guzmán, who was from California and had gone to the University of Guadalajara to study Spanish. It was love at first sight. A few months later, they married, and they started their life together in San Diego. My mom learned English at 23 years old. She enrolled at San Diego City College and got her AA in a second language. Then she went to San Diego State to get her teaching credential and pursue her dream of becoming a teacher. When I was about 10 years old, I remember my mom coming home from school. She was pretty upset. She told my dad that a professor had kept her after class and handed her a paper that she had recently turned in. It was covered in red ink. He came up to her and he said, "Don't waste your time with an education. Don't you have young kids at home? Stay home, raise your family." My dad looked at my mother and said, "What are you gonna do? Who are you gonna listen to, him or yourself? Are you gonna let him tell you you're not smart enough to pursue an education and follow your dream of becoming a teacher?" Well, not only did my mom get her bachelor's degree and her teaching credential, but she ended up getting her master's degree at age 50. When our parents passed, my brother and I felt an obligation and responsibility to remember where we came from and pay it forward by being the founding donors of the Siembra Latinos Fund for the Community Foundation. Throughout my career, I've been very involved with and have given to several organizations that make a positive difference in our community. My company, Tulipan, means tulip in Spanish. The reason I chose this is the tulip represents the start of new potential and growth. With Tulipan, I'm able to share the resources and knowledge I've gained through my career and life experience with others through management and consulting. I also get to share the home my parents built in Del Mar, what we call Paraíso Del Mar, as a vacation rental, and I continue to give a percentage of the proceeds to nonprofit organizations in our community. In fact, I'm pleased to say I've donated a 3-night stay, which you can bid on after the program as a silent auction item. The entire amount will benefit the Women's Fund Endowment. So earlier, I asked you to write down the name of an individual who once doubted you or made you doubt yourself. Now, I'd like you to think of and write down the name of an individual who believed in you, made you believe in yourself, and most inspired you. Please take a moment. Today, you have the opportunity to honor them by paying it forward through giving of your time, your money, and your wisdom. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. Ask for help if you need it. Offer to help someone who's in need. Look around the room and think of all the women in your life. We need to uplift and support each other. Finally, it's time to go home and clean out that messy drawer. One thing at a time. It starts with you. I also am going to ask you to write down and commit to the first step you're going to take this week to pursue your dreams, believe in who you are, and achieve all that you desire. Thank you.